angry alcoholic? Does it matter what kind of alcoholic you are if you're an alcoholic?
No, it doesn't.
No, we're recording.
But I
Hey,
think I'm cool though.
hey, everybody! Welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. I, of course, am your sober host,
No, you're not.
and I am here with the alcoholic.
Ash the Oracle. Sup?
And today we're going to talk about just pos-
What?
possessions.
Why are you
It-
looking at me weird?
because you're an alcoholic. So like when you hear the word
This is literally my second glass. And it's my Friday. I'm allowed to drink. And I'm pretty sure every adult watching this would absolutely agree.
it's Friday every day.
I wish.
So today's episode we're going to be talking about possession. And man, when you hear the word possession, a lot of people probably believe that it's just like in The Exorcist, the whole head spinning around and all that kind of shit. But it's not necessarily. It could manifest itself in many different ways. I like to think that demonic entities are more like Indian scammers. Do you know how they pretend that they are what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So like
That's the perfect description.
there's like, hello sir, my name is Richard Johnson, and I am like for example,
Press 1 for English and you get someone with this super heavy Indian accent that you can't.
hello sir, I am Richard Johnson. Give me your credit card information. Bundy, you Bundy. So
America.
yeah, America. Get out of here, you Indian scammer. I'm not falling for your stuff. Look at my hat. You see my hat?
Oh, no, I'm wearing cheetah and red. Sorry. Hey, I have a football on my shirt. That's got to count.
Yeah. Why do you have a football on your shirt?
It's my game day shirt.
Huh.
But, okay, here's what happened. Okay, we're going to sidetrack for a second.
It looks like one of those shirts that you put that you ever seen like a onesie and it's just like makes no sense, just like throw a football on there or like a basketball. And it's like, why is there a football on this fucking green shirt? It makes no damn sense.
Well, okay, so I work in an office. Okay, so despite it being 1,000 fucking degrees outside, I still have to dress business casual. Okay, so today wore a romper, business casual looking romper thing. Okay, stepped out of my office. I thought I was gonna fucking die. I literally almost stripped in the parking lot because I really thought I was gonna die. But I waited until I got home. And then I threw on shorts and this shirt. And this shirt I actually cut up myself.
You cut it up.
So its collar was like one of those that was like a choking collar. I don't like collars clear up here. I feel like it's choking me. I gotta have some breathing. So I cut the collar off and it was really long. So I kind of made it into a little crop top.
Oh, okay. I like wearing like button-up shirts, and I button all the way up, and I tell people, "Hey, what's up, fool?"
Oh boy!
And then when I make people laugh, I go, "Ah, come on, fool!" Anyway,
is that what kind of accent are you trying to do?
What do you mean trying?
Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's wrong? Hey, you never heard this accent before, eh? What's your problem?
You've done it on the show before, but I'm still questioning who you're trying to interpret.
I think anybody that watches it, I think it's because of the area that you live in. You don't get it.
We're the same age.
No, I said area, not era.
Oh, I thought you said era. I was like, what the fuck? We're the same age.
You've never heard anybody ever say like, "Hey, what's up, fool? What you doing, eh?"
No.
No, see?
Just
anyway.
You.
Yeah.
Literally just you.
See, everybody watching knows exactly what I'm talking about, except for you. You alcoholic!
Sorry, I like wine.
Anyway, so when people think, damn, you know who it comes in many different ways, like demonic possession. It could be like right in your face, right? Like to scare people, or it could be something like the Sally house, where like there was like they're like, yeah, there's a little girl named Sally and she talks to me and all kinds of thing. And then later it turns out like there was no Sally that ever lived there. Turns out it was
Mm-mm.
a demon taking the form of a child. And
And it
then
was basically possessing the house.
yeah, it was fucking people up. So it's one of those things where, you know, like people were saying that these experts, I don't know if I call them expert, but they're like expert demonologists, and they're like, yeah, so like 60% of demons will pretend to be children just so you can like
Mm-hmm.
let them in and feel comfortable, and they start feeding off of you. And also, possession can take the form of addictions. A good description given was in the Stephen King books from the Dark Tower, those Stephen King books.
Oh.
Um, so one of the one ah man, such a great description. So Stephen King is narrating, right? And he's the gunslinger Roland is in this book, and he's talking about this guy named Eddie Dean, who's a junkie. And then and then the narration says Eddie Dean was possessed by a demon, and this demon's name was heroin. You know, and it was like such a good descriptor. I'm like, damn.
That almost makes me think of that one movie too. What is it called? The guy that has like 7 different personalities. That wasn't me. That was Patricia guy. You know the movie I'm talking about?
Yes, Split.
Yes. So that makes me think of things like that. You know, when they say like somebody is mentally insane or has neurological issues, something like that. What if they don't? And what if their body is really possessed by
Just
something?
possessed. Damn, there was this case with this woman who had like over 30 different personalities, and they have like recordings of them, and this guy's like talking to her, and then she's like, all right, well, can you please let Billy in? And then she's like, I don't want Billy to come, just let Billy in. And she's like,
Mhm.
hello, doctor, like in a
Oh,
man's voice, what are we doing today? And then from that lady they actually made a great movie that it was called Session 9. And Session 9 was a movie about like they're cleaning up this asylum. It's like it was an old asylum, and they find these tapes. And all you guys can actually look this up on YouTube. Just call like Session 9, like personalities. So
oh, I think I watched this.
so the character that was supposed to be like this lady's Billy, his name was Simon. And the doctor's like, hello, Simon, how are you? And Simon's like, hello there, doctor. How are you today? And you know,
So creepy.
yeah, and so then at the end of the movie, right? So supposedly the person that was possessed by, well, not possessed, had all these personalities. The Simon character came in and murdered his children and murdered all these people, right? So
Hmm.
then there was another case where somebody also committed an act of violence, and the Simon personality was present there too. So then, um, in one of the doctor was like asking these personalities like, where do you live? And then this one that has like a little girl's voice, she's like, I live in a castle, you know, up in the clouds. And they're like, wow, you know, and the doctor's like, oh wow, that's it. What about you? And there's like a scared little boy, and he's like, I live in Wisconsin with my parents. So
Oh.
then at the end of the movie, like right before the film ends, um the guy that's kind of like finding these tapes ends up like killing the crew that he's like cleaning this hospital with, ends up killing them. And then he's sitting there, and then he's just like, you know, whatever. And then the tape starts playing, and then it just says, where do you live, Simon? And then Simon goes,
Oh.
oh, doc, I live in the weak and the wounded.
Okay, maybe I didn't watch this because I don't
So-
remember
but it
any
was
of this.
such a great ending. I
Well,
live in the weak and in the wounded, you know. So
gross.
but it yeah, but it's like so weird. So like when you see um you know, these type of possessions around the world, they all basically have like the almost like the same thing, almost like the same cadence. Like if they're possessed by, let's say, very unintelligent demons, they're just rolling around and they're just like shouting, you know, obscenities. But then every once in a while they encounter like somebody that's in the, I don't even know what the hell to call this, because Well, I'm gonna say it. So, like in the Christian worldview, like demons have like a hierarchy almost,
Mhm.
and
Which is
you get
weird.
the what?
Which is weird to me.
Well, so like you have, for example, you have angels, you have archangel. All a demon is just a bad angel. That's all he is.
Yeah,
Just a
basically.
yeah. So in the angel worldview, they have hierarchies, right? You have angels, archangels. You have angels that are messengers, angels that are work. It's the
Mhm.
same thing with demonic entities. So when you get like a high-ranking demon, he's very articulate the way he talks, and he's very wise. You
Oh yeah,
know, and the way that they just talk to like whoever the hell. Okay, so
and smart as fuck. Like the exorcisms that I have listened to, I'm just like, are you serious right now? Which one was it? The one that was based off of Emily Rose.
oh, Annalise Michelle.
Yes, that one was so intelligent when it spoke.
It's so bizarre. So like you also got to think that these things are thousands of years old. They're
Mm-hmm.
super old. There's a saying in Spanish that says the devil is smart not because he is a devil, but because he is old. You know,
Yeah.
and it's and like you got to think like they're just walking around, like learning. So to me, it's like really okay. So when I was a kid, I
Oh
think
no.
I think I told the story before on the show.
I think you've at least told me.
So when I was a
This
kid,
point.
there used to be when we used to go to the store, I had to like walk through like this little dirt road, and you used to go like over the
Yes.
fence, and then you're going. There's like another dirt road, and you're walking like into people's properties, and they're waving at you, and they're like, "Hey!" and you're like, "Hey!" And when I was a kid, I was kind of a I don't know if you know this, but when I was a kid, I was kind of a goofball. So they'd all wave. They're like, "Hey!"
Nothing has
I
changed. You're
would
still a fucking goober.
give them the guns. I'm like, "Hey!" As I was walking by. So
Yeah,
like
you're still.
every single time I walked past this house, there was like this little girl. I think she was like maybe 5 or 6, but this little girl was always at the window and she'd wave at me,
I'm
you know.
already getting chills.
So she would wave and I'd wave back. I'm like, hey, So then that's how it was, right? So she'd wave, and it was like almost like an everyday thing. I'd walk by, I'd give her the gun. Sometimes I would even make a sound. I go, pow, as I would, you know, whatever. So then one day I was walking past this house and I see the little girl on the window, and it's been days, right? Like I haven't gone to the store in a couple days. So then I just went, and everybody's not like in a good mood. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I kind of wave, and then people are kind of like, huh. So then I go past this window, and this little girl, she's just like looking out the window, but she looks like really, really sick. And I remember her head was kind of cocked like in a weird way at the window. And I remember she had like this expression on her face where it looked like she was smiling, but it was kind of like a forced smile. She just like was just baring her teeth, but her head was like to the side. And I was like, oh, and I thought that maybe she was trying to be silly back, right? I'm like,
Like
ah,
one of those kids in their school pictures where the photographer's like, okay, say cheese. And they're like,
yeah, kind of like that. Only without the minus the joy.
yeah, that was my
So
daughter's style last year.
so I walked past, and then I went to this little house where they sold things. And normally I would get things like bottled water or like a bag of rice, and then or sugar. So I was just like walking by, and then I kind of like looked past the house, and she was still there, and I was like, oh, okay. So then I went, and I ended up talking to my parents. I'm like, hey, like, what's wrong with it? Da, 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 and then is she sick? And then they're like, yeah, she's sick. So then a couple days later, I come to find out that she died, right? Like she died, and everybody was just like, mourning and everything, and it was like, like really weird. So then years later, my dad ended up telling me what ended up happening, and he's like, "Oh, do you remember?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he goes, "Well, so what happened was," he said, "she was possessed, and they had her like chained to her bed. Like, so she had like one of those like single beds, like a little twin. They had like a metal frame, and I guess that to like restrain her, they had to like grab her because she was like really strong. So anyway, so then they would go over there and they would like pray, and she would scream and like and all kinds of things. Eventually, I guess what ended up happening was that they went in there like to try to get her to eat, and she had like wrapped the chain around her neck, and she was just like dead.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, and it was just like I was like, so.
That story literally gives me chills every time you tell it.
So it was just like it was so weird because I was like, what? And like it was, but I remember just like, and then it kind of changed the way that I viewed the way that she was looking at me through the window,
Yeah.
and it was so sad because she was like such a cute little girl, she was like so, though it's always so happy, and then just to like end, her life with like wrapping a chain around her neck and just kind of hanging herself.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you my experience? I don't think I've told you this story.
No.
Okay, so I was a freshman in high school, and wow, really setting the mood. So I was a freshman in high school. My older sister was a senior, dating a senior guy, and we went to his house to go watch a movie. Well, the movie.
What movie?
The Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here's the key thing to this story, though.
Why are you doing this to me, Demi?
I'm going to age myself. This was when you could still go to like a video store and rent a movie. Okay.
You can do that here.
Well, okay. Well, nobody lives in a town of 1,000 people like you do. Anyways, so
600.
The movie we rented was The Exorcist, of course, and it was on VHS because all this guy had in his basement still was VHS. DVD player was upstairs. DVDs weren't that hot at that time. So we go back. We're watching the movie. Okay, we're all a little freaked out. It's hard for me to get scared of horror movies. Like, it has to be pretty bad for me to actually get scared. This one honestly didn't scare me this much until this moment. So it got to the point where the little girl Regan is laying on the bed. She's chained to the bed. It hasn't gotten to where she's throwing up the green shit yet. She's just, the demon is speaking out of her. So this movie literally stopped and rewound itself to the beginning of when this demon started talking, started playing again. We didn't think anything of it at first because old VCR didn't even have a remote. You had to walk up to it.
And then
that fucking old. So did it a second time.
Before you return the VHS tapes, you had to rewind them.
Exactly. So did it a second time, and we were like, okay, something's wrong with the VHS. So my sister's boyfriend at the time went up to the DVD or VCR. So he's saying DVD, VCR, pulled the tape out. Nothing was wrong with it. It was fine. Put it back in. This fucking tape did it 2 more times before we shut off the movie and me and my sister went home.
You're like, yeah, fuck this movie. Do you remember what the demon was that was possessing Regan?
It was the very, very beginning when she was like, the demon was first coming out of her.
The demon was Lilith's master, Pazuzu. Oh. And he's known in ancient Samaria as the god of the wind, and he brings diseases. And one of his portraits is him, and he has he's holding a chain like this, and his hand out, he's holding a chain, and the chain is like chained around like an owl, or chained around like a woman with wings, because he's got like Lilith like on a leash, so whenever So this is what's creepy. So yeah,
Anyways,
so in ancient Samaria, and that's another thing. A lot of people think that Sumerian is like one of the oldest language. Actually, Akkadian predates Samaria and Hebrew. So anyway, so in ancient Samaria, like when somebody was really sick, or when you're having like a bad harvest, or let's say any of those things, and you needed help, a lot of people would be like, "Oh man, should we invoke him? I think we have to." And then they would invoke Pazuzu, and he would come in, and you know you had to give him someone, so you had to like sacrifice somebody to like so for him to possess, and then that person would end up dying, and then like everything would be fixed. Or so like Lilith or Lilitu was a demoness who preyed on babies and pregnant women. So she would kill them, or little girls. She would kill little girls. So if there was like a lot of stillbirths, or babies were dying, like with SIDS, or pregnant women were dying a lot, they're like, you have to invoke Pazuzu to go rein her in. So then you would bring in like somebody to like, I guess, to like offer like, you can take this vessel. And
hold on. I'm gonna stop you.
yes,
Nobody can reign in Lilith. Do you
yeah,
not know what deity you're talking about right now?
yeah, Pazuzu is literally her owner.
I know, but
It,
this
it,
Lilith, she bows down to no man.
she bows down to her master Pazuzu.
I'm gonna have to do my research on this one. You need to send
You
me a
can,
link.
I can send you. I could. There's even like ancient texts where you can actually look at ancient. The whole like Lilith is this. That's modern. Like you're aware of that, right? The whole.
Hey, but she was cast out of the. I keep hitting this fucking bench behind my piano, but she was literally cast out of the Garden of Eden because she would not conform to fucking Adam. She was like, "Fuck you, bitch! I'm not your submissive." Get
That
away.
that's that story started in the 1920s.
Decon, I'm gonna hurt you.
So in a like that's very modern with like Lilith is this, Lilith is that. Like that's very modern. That's like feminism thing. Like but then they ignore like actual like ancient texts where like it actually like the story of the origin of the story, where in the origin of the story like you had to, if you were a woman, you had to wear like a special bracelet, otherwise like Lilith would kill you or kill your children. So she was always seen like as the owl. It's called a Lilitu. So and in some illustrations they show like Pazuzu like having her in a cage, or like with a chain around her neck, because whenever you needed Lilith to be like reined in, you had to call like her owner, which is Pazuzu.
Why
So
haven't I ever seen these?
we talked about it in that one episode where it was the
I
episode on
know, but
Lilith.
I've never seen like the pictures and stuff. So, and
Oh,
you've yet to send me a link. So,
okay. Pazuzu.
if you could like send me something, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'll send you something right now.
And that was like 100 episodes ago. I don't remember that. I don't retain shit. You should know this by now. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast. Did I eat breakfast? Coffee.
You had coffee for breakfast?
I think I had a cookie too.
So like, oh damn, I don't know if you can see that.
No,
But these are like,
that's actually really beautiful though.
yeah. So the big guy with that's at the very top with that head, that's Pazuzu, and then underneath him, like you see that you kind of see like a chain, and this little figure right here, that's Lilith.
I wonder
And
if
that tablet,
anybody has been possessed by Lilith.
and this tablet is called Lilith Forced Back into the Underworld by her master Pazuzu, is what that tablet's called.
We need to do some research if anybody has been possessed by Lilith. If like Lilith has come out.
I don't think like Lilith possesses people in that way. Like Lilith was known to kill women.
She should possess people. Can you imagine if she were to possess a man? That would be funny.
Well,
Can you imagine if she possessed Donald Trump?
I don't think she could. She'd like show up, and then Trump will be like, You know, what's funny is I'm friends with Pazuzu. He's right here on the phone. And Pazuzu said, I didn't say it. He said it. Get back into your cage. Get back into your cage or no dinner tonight. All right. It's Pazuzu saying. I said, wow, Pazuzu. That's, so anyway, he's right here. He actually loves my hotels. So, so, and, so with, yeah, like with Lilith, she never possessed people. She actually adores men. So like that was the thing, was that Lilith would come in and she would like eat the children, or she would kill the woman and like try to inhabit in the house with a man, and then the man had to like basically call in Pazuzu, like bring in, sacrifice a goat, sacrifice a couple chickens, call him over here, and he had to come in and get her out of the house. That All right. And I like to think that Pazuzu was coming in like, come on, let's go. I swear, you fucking say you're gonna behave yourself, and then here you go. Come on. And he's
like Brad Pitt standing on the side of the building with the cigarette, like, fuck.
Yeah, damn, what a depressing picture. So anyway,
that's a great picture.
There was that's a great meme. Also, it's like Brad Pitt, like how much he hates J-Lo, and it shows him like as she gets in the car and he just like angrily slams the door behind her, and he just looks like,
I would hate life if I knew J-Lo personally. I really would.
Yeah, stupid beaner. Anyway,
sorry. Fuck.
Yeah. When watching the movie Anaconda, I realized that the biggest man eater on set was actually J-Lo, not the giant anaconda. Anyway, so
she's a bitch.
Yeah, she's fucking awful. Anyway, so back to the topic. There was this case. I forget where it happened, where these boys were tormented by like a demonic entity, and the police were called, and there's actual police reports online that you can look at. And the police said that they arrived at this house where these kids supposedly were possessed. The grandmother called them, and then the cops said that they watched the kids like walk up the wall and up into the ceiling, and they didn't know what to do. And then the kids basically like blacked out. They just like fell down from the ceiling, and they had to take them in to the hospital. And then these kids, they had to strap them down because they were extremely violent. And I tried listening to like these skeptics, like it's called Monster Talk, and these skeptics are, they analyze things, and normally they'll say things that I'm like, I could see that. But with this case, because there was police reports, and it was actually, I think, footage of like them at the hospital, and the explanations that they try to give were actually really stupid. Like one of the ladies, she's some dumb bitch from like England, but she was like, what she said was that when the cops said that they walked up the wall, she says that she has actually seen, kids do tricks like this off of a bed. She says with a bed, you get a jumping start and then you walk up the stairs. And I was like, well, first of all, the police said that it happened in the living room. Number two, he says they walked up the wall slowly and then on the ceiling.
Yeah, I think the only way that someone can do that is if, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's people literally running up walls and doing like backflips off of it and shit.
Yeah, but that's not what the cops said. The cops said that
they said they walked up, not
up the wall, and then onto the ceiling, and then eventually, like being up there, they just kind of like passed out, I guess, and just fell.
Can you imagine walking into a room and seeing like a 7-year-old child just like walk up the wall and onto the ceiling? I think I would just shut the door and leave.
Have you ever seen Scary Movie 2?
When? I did, but it was a long ass fucking time ago. I haven't seen any of the movies since like high school.
So in Scary Movie 2, they're doing like a parody of The Exorcist. And James Wood is like he's like the priest. And he walks into this room, and there's that girl that's possessed, and she's like, her head's spinning around. And then he says, yeah, fuck this. And then he leaves, and the other priest that grabs him like, no, Father, we have to complete the ritual. But like, to me, that was the most realistic reaction, was when he was like, yeah, fuck this.
I'm the same way, though. Like, there was one day I went to go pick up my kids from my mom's, And she has a camera on the outside of her house. Okay, so she can see when I pull up. And I heard my kids screaming and fighting with each other. So I literally walked up, heard that, and walked back to my car. And she called me and she was like, "Get the fuck back over here."
You're like, yeah, no thanks. Oh
So I
man,
think that's how a lot of people are. You know, you walk into something like that and you're just like, no, I'm not doing this.
yeah, no, it's just it's one of those things where it's inexplicable sometimes, and then you have like case like there's this video out there where this cop, he he's telling this story about like some of the weirdest calls he's ever been called to, right? And then he says he went to this house and there was this old lady. You guys can look it up. But there was this old lady that was like basically walking, and her head was down and she looked like disheveled and she smelled really bad, the cop said. And she's been like walking as she was like dragging her feet, like you could just hear the
Ew.
of her like dragging her feet on the hardwood floor. And he said that looking, and when he looked closer, yeah, like she had like worn the skin, so there was like dried blood from where she was like doing that, just walking around in circles. And the husband, he was an old man, right? They're an elderly couple, and then he's like, I just can't deal with this anymore, and so the cop's like, all right. And then this guy comes out. He was like their son, and he was like in his 20s, and he was like, hey, come over here, I gotta talk to you, and he's wearing like a cross necklace and he has like crosses like all over his door. And the cop's like, what can he tell me, like what's going on? And he says, and he noticed that he had like a shitload of like deadbolts on his door from the and then he was like, what can you tell me about, and then he kind of like points at the old lady, at the mom, and he says, and he looks at the cop and he says, you should see it at night,
Oh, fuck that.
And then he's like, what, like, you should see it at night. He's like, this is your mother. Like, how can he call her an it? And he says, that what's in there, that's not my mother. And then he said that he showed pictures of like before all of this started. And he says, and this lady was beautiful. She was beautiful. She was like smiling and she was funny. All of a sudden he says, he looks at her and she's like, got like just caked up, like dried shit on her face. Her hair's fucked up. And he says she won't talk. She just kind of gargles like, and she's walking around. And he's like, that is not my mother,
Gross.
So then he ends up.
I feel like you would be able to tell. Like,
yeah, but you also got to think like in the moment, like as a police officer, you can't immediately be like, yeah, fuck this. You have to like be professional. You have to like, fuck these people. So he says that he ended up calling like people, and I think they led her away, like they put her somewhere. And he says he'd never heard of what happened after that, but he said that night, he says that he was laying in bed and he could hear the like around him.
No.
And yeah, it's just so bizarre. And it was almost like whatever it was, like maybe part of her like followed him home, so he says that was like one of the strangest like encounters that he had, and then he says, looking back now, he says he's thoroughly convinced that this was a possessed woman. They kept writing on the paperwork, somebody with dementia. And he's like, people with dementia do not behave this way.
No. I mean, people with dementia, they just forget shit. And then they say funny shit.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, imagine. It's like, you just say like the weirdest.
Okay. I'm going to take us back to the 60s and 80s. I feel like a lot of people that were thrown into mental institutions, for example, that were speaking in different voices, they were, just not acting like themselves. I kind of wonder if some of those people may have been possibly possessed by something, or if maybe they had the gift of mediumship, something to that effect.
That would be really interesting. Oh, really quick, I was just reading, I was doing a little bit of research, and apparently Lilith has a sister named Lamashtu.
She does.
Yeah, so So then it's talking about like modern pop culture. It says Pazuzu gained global notoriety as a demonic entity and possessed Reagan McNeil in 1973. Book The Exorcist. It says Lilith has similarly been reimagined in modern media, appearing prominently in the contemporary occultist feminist literature. So there you go. So like the reason why she's the way that people are like, oh, she's a boss. It's because of modern literature.
Well,
So it's
and
like,
a lot of beginner witches are making the mistake of going to Lilith first thing.
well, I mean, but also when you look at like Lilith, like what does she do? Like we were just talking about like what's going on, like how demons will be like, yeah, hello, sir. And
The
I just think
only time that I have ever looked to Lilith is when I am doing my shadow work and I'm feeling petty.
so, and that's crazy because
But that's
a
what she
lot, yeah, but there's a lot of people out there that when they do shadow work, they do invoke like unclean spirits. Because
well,
I think that they get off on that kind of stuff. They're like, what are we doing? We're fucking shit up. All right, let's fuck some shit up. You know what I mean?
I did not call to that bitch though. She came to me.
But I think that's what it is. I think what it is just like, like, wait, what are we doing? Somebody needs to get fucked up. Like, yeah, I'll go. I got nothing going on.
We
Yeah.
got wine. I got wine. I think I have some. I think I still have some tequila in my cupboard. So let's go have a party.
Yeah.
Oh, wine and tequila don't mix though.
Also people that call upon the power of Morrigan, same concept,
Yeah.
people Morrigan witches are like very chaotic, and then they're like, we can go, fuck all these people
Love
that
chaotic witches though. They're so awesome and so
and
funny.
they're like, this person, kept calling me a fucking whore in a second grade, so I have her name here on this list. And then Morgan's like, all right, let's go fuck up her life now,
Better.
even though now she's 48, let's go fuck her up. And then all of a sudden there's this lady out there who's using her phone that fucking explodes and burns her fingers, and then you know what I mean? So like, what the hell's going on?
But that's what I love about chaos witches though, is that their pettiness like surpasses mine times 10. And it's just fucking great.
But okay, so what do you believe that when you're like in a situation where, let's say that you're being petty because somebody has hurt you and you're like, fuck, and you start thinking about these people, and then you're like, I can't believe this person would do this to me. Like, what the fuck? I thought we were friends. Whatever it is. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, something out there picks it up and they're like, damn, I'm sensing a lot of resentment here and some anger. Let's go check out, see what the fuck's going on. And then they just start communicating, hey, you want to go fuck some shit up? You want to go fuck some shit up? And you're like, yeah, I think so. And it's just like, and then that's how it starts, I think. It's just like they're almost like they're out there just want. So okay, so in the book of Job in the Bible,
Did you not ask me a question?
huh? Yeah, so I asked you a question, but I wasn't expecting an answer back. So
Okay, but I'm gonna answer.
okay,
Okay, so here's the thing with that is I will feel that. And I will feel like go fuck shit up. And yes, that feeling will come over me. But then I'm like, karma has a funny way of correcting things. So I'm going to let karma take over.
do you think that
Doing anything that's going to affect somebody negatively, I feel like if you're a negative person, that's going to come to you naturally.
do you think that karma is like almost like an entity within itself? Like somebody's like, oh, shit's off balance. Like, who's this person?
I completely believe that.
And what would you think? How would you describe it? Do you think is it like just something out there? Or do you think that it's dark, like it's like a demonic thing?
No, I don't think it's dark. I think it's in the gray area. But
You think there's
karma,
something out there Holding
My
scales.
Yeah, karma, in my opinion, is a way of not necessarily correcting things, but if you are the kind of person that puts out that sort of negativity, then that's when karma is going to come and correct you. It may not come to you, let's say tomorrow. Let's say you do something really shitty today. It may not hit you tomorrow, but it's going to hit you later.
Do you think karma's like a lady holding scales, or you think it's the Punisher? You know, just like walking around.
I think it's a combination. I think it depends on the situation.
But okay, what was I? Got a little bit off track here. So what I was gonna say is in the book of Job. In the book of Job, this is in the Old Testament. Um, it talks about how it says that one day, right? The sons of God went upon the throne of God, and amongst them, was Lucifer. Lucifer went amongst them. So, and then God was like, "Hey, Lucifer, how you doing?" Well, I'm doing fine. But it just demonstrates that, you know, Lucifer just roams, right? Like God's like, "Oh, where have you been?" And he says, "Oh, I've been on the earth, walking up and down upon it." You
But
know,
here's what I can respect about Lucifer.
I don't
Is
respect
he
anything about him.
completely will own up to that shit.
The what?
Lucifer, he completely will own up to everything he has done. He's like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
But
fuck off.
but you can't trust him because by nature he's a liar.
You
You
definitely
know,
can't trust him, but I
no,
can respect the owning up to your shit.
yeah, but what he's owning up to could also be a lie because he is the description that was given about him was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. So
Yes.
so when you look at that, like he was just like walking up. So but then the point I'm trying to make is kind of like when he gives a description of where he was like, oh, I was just on the earth walking up and down upon it, just walking
Mhm.
around, right? So when I look at something like that, I'm also thinking about like demonic entities. They're probably just doing the same thing, just walking around, just finding stuff,
Yeah.
just
What
finding.
I think demonic entities do is they are looking for people who have, I don't want to say a weak spirit, but almost your soul is weak. You're not in tune with yourself. You don't, yes, you may go to church every Sunday, but are you truly, how can I describe this?
So
So,
just
like,
because
for
you
example, I'm not a church going person, but when I go to a concert, I'm on another level. I am fully immersed into the music. I am feeling the music. So if you're going to church every Sunday and not believing what they're preaching, and you're not fully in tune with it, and you're not fully in tune with yourself in whatever you believe, period, that's when I think you're going to get preyed on.
Well, okay, so it's funny you say that because there's an excellent example in the Gospel of Mark. So in the Gospel of Mark, they go to a temple, right? And there's all these people and they're worshiping. There's all these Jewish men and they're worshiping, and Jesus goes to the temple and he
Mhm.
walks in and it says, and then a man immediately begins to convulse, and
Mhm.
and then he says, "What have I to do with you, son of the Most High?" And then Jesus says, "Be quiet and come out of him." So, in order for you to get to the temple in Judaism to worship the way they were worshiping, you had to like not just study but do all the things. And this man has been probably going to the temple for years, and no one noticed this man was possessed.
Mhm.
And he's just doing all the things, doing all the motions everybody was doing, and then Jesus walks in, and then immediately, the demon begins to kind of like
Cower.
panic. Yeah. So it's a great point that you had made. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Got to talk about it in the Gospels. So I mean, just because you go to church doesn't that just like you can go to a Baptist church just because you're going to a church. I'm going to use the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Fury with
I don't
Brad Pitt? And okay, it's a great fucking
I
movie.
know I've
Anyway,
heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
so Shia LaBeouf plays a guy named Bible, and he's like he's an operator on a tank. So they each have nicknames. So you have Brad Pitt's got the coolest nickname in the whole movie. So Brad Pitt's nickname is War Daddy, and he runs the tank Fury.
Fucking
So
God.
there's
Really?
yeah, War Daddy, such a cool
I
fucking
don't
name.
think I would even be able to take this movie seriously, but go
You
on.
should you should watch it. I bet you $20 you're gonna love that movie.
Brad Pitt
But,
calling himself War Daddy just gives
well,
dick.
he's a hardened soldier during World War II who's been in combat for so long. Anyways, he speaks fluent German because he's been fighting in Germany for so long. Anyway, so the point I was trying to make is there's people that are injured, and Shia LaBeouf's character's name is Bible, because he's a guy that has a Bible and he's always quoting. So then he's talking to this guy who's injured, and he walks up to him and he's like, "Are you saved?" He's like, asking him, "Are you a Christian?" Right?
I'm sorry, I just can't take this movie seriously. Right?
You say that, but it's a great movie.
Shia LaBeouf's name is Bible.
Yeah, that's his nickname. So you have Bible, you have Gordo, and the guy that plays the Punisher is in the tank too. I think his name is like Animal or something. Like, it's a great movie. You laugh, but I think you'll like it. Anyway,
Okay,
so
I'll try watching it when I'm editing this.
So back to the whole thing. So Shia LaBeouf is asking this guy. He's like, "Are you saved?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I go to church." And he's like, "That's not why I asked you. I asked you are you saved?" And it's just like it's a great quote, because just because you go to church does not necessarily mean that you're a Christian. Just like there's
Shia LaBeouf should ask himself that question.
well, I mean, it's a movie role. So
He's a great actor, that's for sure.
yeah, he was in a movie, the Tax Collector, and on there he plays a cholo.
He was in Transformers also.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like good acting movies. Anyway, so it's just one of those things where there are people out there that have this. It's a mask that they wear. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. There's a mask that you wear, and a lot of that could be, man. I don't like the Warrens, but the Warrens they had this like chart which they like use, and they say that there's like oppression, there's infestation, there's oppression, and then there's possession, and they had like those three things. So you had like oppression where they move things around the house. You're trying to sleep and your bed shakes. You had infestation when they're like in the house and they're beginning to kind of like ruin things in your life, like people begin to drink or to do pills or like to just negative shit in their life. And then there's possession, where somebody's actually possessed. And the most common one, I believe, is infestation, where they're just like fucking up your life, and they make you like do it yourself, right? So you have a husband or a dad. He's an alcoholic, and he's a violent alcoholic, and he just can't get a hand on it. He's ruining everybody's life. He starts drinking, but he's generally a nice dude, and then he drinks and he turns into like a monster, and he begins to like mistreat everybody. And a lot of people,
stepdad.
Yeah, well, I mean, so a lot of people believe that then within itself is a demonic possession. It's like you're gonna ruin not just your own life, but everybody that lives with you, all those people. But they don't do it like right away. So a lot of people, when they think possession, they think like rolling around on the floor, like your head spinning. And it's more like in situations like that where it's like, you know what? Let's ruin these children's lives. Let's make sure that not only are they traumatized, but they themselves grow up to traumatize their own children. Like and just well, yeah, because a lot of people have issues, and then I mean, I've met people who grew up in a house with violent alcoholics, and then they themselves will grow up, and then you go out to dinner, right, with this person. You're out to dinner with them, and the person that they're with, they're like, you know what, I think I'll have a beer. And then the person that's a victim, immediately that triggers them, and they could say something like, no, like in front of their kids, and their kids get scared, like, what are you doing? And it's just like a trigger response. Now you traumatized your kids,
Yeah.
And then this person has this response to a trauma that they have. They develop a phobia. And if you look back to their childhood, that's probably what the demon's like. You're gonna fuck up not only yourself but your kids, and then they're gonna traumatize their own. And it's a generational thing.
It is.
And and then there's situations where the person that's a victim of alcoholism, they themselves want to like face that fear, so they themselves become alcoholics. And it's just that generational seed, where it's like, you shouldn't be afraid of alcohol. You know what? You should prove to people that you're not afraid of it. You should begin drinking heavily, and then you drink, and then, I don't think that's what's going on in this situation. But there's people out there that will like try to prove something, and then they may even have the alcoholic gene, and they themselves, become alcoholics. And then people are like, fuck, how can you do that? Your stepfather was abusive and he was an alcoholic. And you're like, I just don't know how I got here. And it's those little lies that you tell yourself. It's only a drink. It's only 2 drinks. It's only, actually, there's a comedian out there named Shane Gillis who was talking about his dad being an alcoholic. And he says that his dad would drink on Mondays. And he's like, fuck, dude, it's Monday. You're getting fucked up. He's like, well, there's football on TV. Am I not supposed to have beers with football? And then he's like, oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll give that a pass. And he's like, dude, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday and you're fucked up? He's like, well, it's Tuesday. There's no football. What am I supposed to do? But as much as a funny,
Terrible.
as much as a funny joke that is, it's actually really true. And I think that with demonic like possession, infestation, all that kind of stuff, I think that kind of stuff does happen where somebody's at the house and then they're like, just have 1 drink, and they lie to themselves, right? Like alcoholics are like, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. You guys have all heard this. I can stop whenever I want. But a lot of this,
No, that's when they start hiding it. Trust me from experience. When they say, oh, I'm done drinking. I promise I'm not going to drink anymore. That's when you're going to find it in the laundry basket. That's when you're going to find it in the washer. You might find a bottle in the fucking oven, for crying out loud, just because they're that fucking dumb.
So, well, I think that a lot of it is also, just like the month. I can't believe they won't let you have fun. You know what?
Put it over here. You won't see it.
Yeah, just hide it over here. Just have a quick drink. Oh, I'll be right back. I get some out of the garage. And it's like, just take a sip. Just take a sip. And it's just things
and
like
then
that.
You won't get in a fight with your 20-year-old stepdaughter and think it's okay.
Yeah.
Cat. Sorry, that was my cat, guys. That was really.
I mean, fuck, like Jake the Snake, the old wrestler, had an addiction issue with alcohol and any drug. He says his drug was more. Just whatever it was, just give me more of it. So he talked about how he would go to rehab. And the way he described it, he didn't mean it this way, but I like to think that it could have been demonic, because he says you'll go to a rehab place. He says, and you'll sit there, and it says, and the addiction won't touch you. He's just waiting in a corner, just doing push-ups, and it's like, yeah, you're fine. He said, in the morning that you graduate, like from your class and whatever, and you shake somebody's hand, he's like, all right, now that they had taught you all these bad habits, let's go get you back on the right track. He says, before you know it, you're out there calling your dealer on the payphone outside with a diploma in hand, and he says he struggled with that for years, and I think that's, well, also biblically, like that's how like demons mostly operate. They mostly make people sick. They make people addicted. They make people do all these things because it's so low key. It's just like the Indian scammers, right? They're not going to come out and say, we're Indian scammers. No, they pretend to be somebody else because the last thing they want is to be caught, right?
Maybe I'm possessed.
Yeah, you might be.
I believe it.
If you were possessed, what do you think this demon is making you do?
Drink alcohol and vape.
I think so. I think so too. You are possessed.
I probably am possessed.
You probably are possessed. I have to perform an exorcism on you.
You won't win.
No, I can.
No, you won't win.
Why?
Because I'm cooler than you.
That has nothing to do with anything.
It has everything to do with it.
No, it doesn't. And then I'm cooler than you.
No, you're really not.
I really am.
No, not at all.
What are
I
you
am the
talking?
coolest person in this situation right now.
No, you're not. Look at my background.
Look at my background. I'm
Yes, I
I'm
have.
times cooler than you. I not only included paranormal, but I included witchy shit too. You just have little figures in boxes.
What?
So
Little figure. Little figure in boxes.
that was such an insult.
Motherfucker, I have. I have
I'm
the.
so
I
loud.
have. I have the Ninja Turtles collection. I have the Cobra Kai versus TMNT. I have John Kreese behind me squaring up against Raphael.
I remember my first doll.
And well, I bet you it wasn't as cool as this. If you
No,
had
no, where
if you
she
if you had a doll as cool as these, you probably wouldn't be an alcoholic. So so I have, come on, I have a flintlock pistol, I have a jackalope, I have ninja stars, I have
doll.
collectors. I have, it doesn't matter, call it whatever you want. I have a witch killing blade over here. Like, come on.
Bring it.
Um, I don't even need the blade. I'll like beat you to death with a pool noodle. So it's just
Please, I'm not that small.
all right. So going back to the oh shit, we gotta end the show. It's already been over like an hour. So anyway, so so the point is that demonic entities and possession comes in all forms, and it's actually creepy when you think about it, because a lot of people have to ask themselves a question like, fuck, like whenever I do this, my family gets mad at me. I can't believe what happened.
I'm trying to get my cat. She wants snuggles.
So all these things, right? And then they have to like ask themselves, like, people get so angry at me when I do this, but I keep doing it. Am I being, like demonized? So anyway, so that's today's episode. And this episode was brought to you by My Haunted Backroads with Sean Burris, the Ghost Man. Oh yeah, with the Shadow Nation.
You even made my cat look at you.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I'm
Also
sorry.
brought to you by Paranormal Unveiled, Nathaniel Elwell, with his book, Demonic Erotica. Also check him out on his like and subscribe, Paranormal Unveiled with static voices. So check him out.
I love it.
Also brought to you by Render the Darkness.
Oh, that
Ooh.
was too fast. I did it really good on the witchy hour the other day.
These two crazy bitches will bring you all kinds of insanity from this world and the next with their true crime and their ghost stories. Oh, damn, it's a good time. Also, Dreamscape Chronicles. You motherfuckers. I need to get in contact with you guys. What the hell are you doing?
Shit together. We're
Yeah.
past the point where we're being nice now.
Yeah, Spotify. Yeah, check them out.
Fuck.
Dreamscape Chronicles. What the hell? Also by T Public. Go get yourself some merch. Get yourself a mug. Some shit.
What are the proceeds going to?
Demonic possessions.
No. Do I need to say it? I
Yeah,
will.
go ahead. Oh,
Okay.
all right. Because I'm embarrassed.
Everybody, the artists of the show, Decon, over here. I think on the show, I think on YouTube it shows you over here. So over here or over there, wherever the fuck you are. Decon is starting his tattoo journey. Okay. And he's been sending me some pictures of him practicing, and he's pretty fucking good, guys. So anything you buy on shut the fuck up. Anything you buy on TeePublic of our merch is gonna go to his tattoo fund journey. And yeah, so
Yeah, I need a lot of equipment.
get yourself like 10 stickers and just go around town slapping them on random vehicles.
Just go ahead and slap them on random hookers.
You can do that. Go get socks and go throw them at hookers for tips.
Yeah, fill it up with heroin. Yeah, don't do that. So,
Not too
so
bad.
that's it, guys. So thank you guys for joining us. This was a good episode.
Sure.
I had a blast. Anyway,
Asshole.
all right. So, what a douchebag. So that's it, guys. So remember to always look both ways, especially if you're being a douchebag.
Happens. Get over it.